Hey everybody, Matt Novack from NovackWoodwork. As you can see, we got a little bit of snow here in Virginia last night, so that's fun, being able to take the family out and play a little bit. But this week's video, we're gonna talk a little bit about a build that I did with a little buffet, little coffee nook, table for our kitchen. It's something that my wife Amanda has wanted for a little bit, and I built it a little bit ago, and I got to fix a couple things on it. So thought I'd show a little video on how the build went, some of the challenges with it. It was my very first build with mortise and tenon and hand cutting, things like that. I've never done that before, so it was super fun learning about. I did not watch many videos on how to do it. I just saw Instagram posts, little pictures here and there, and I didn't do much research. So it turned out actually pretty good, fairly enough. But that's what this week's video is about, and I hope you guys have a good one. Hope you enjoy it. Well, here we are. No project can be complete without a beauty shot. So here's pretty much the finished product of our kitchen buffet / coffee nook. Fit perfectly in our space. Built it kind of to fit it, and don't let the picture deceive you. It's not really bowed in the center, it's just the angle of the camera, but that's pretty much how it ended up. So let's just take you back all the way to the beginning and show you wow and what and how I was able to build this. But before we get to that, check out this ad I found when I was doing research for this table, and I totally forgot about it. It literally says, no problem about matches and burning cigarette burns thanks to the asbestos baby suit. Go ahead, hit pause on your video. That's what it shows. Anyways, this was the inspiration that we found in a magazine. I can't remember which one it is, for the table. My wife found it, she loved it. She wasn't a fan of the color of the tabletop and things like that, but this was our inspiration for the entire table. Had the legs, I glued them up, and as you can see, the grain, wrong direction all the way around, and boy, I learned that the hard way on this one. But glued them all up, threw them through the planer and the joiner that I had to get them square, and they turned out quite well. So I'm not sure if it was right or not, but I went ahead and cut the legs to length. My offcuts is when I went ahead and did my test for my mortise to make sure it was the right size for the different tenons that I had, and pretty much that's what I was doing at this point. Out of all honesty, we were renovating our kitchen, and we used that lumber to use on this. So it fit perfectly. I started hand cutting the rest, and man, look how off all of my stuff is. But it was my first time ever doing it with a chisel and a hammer, and I had a blast doing it. It was hard, but I definitely learned a lot, and my hands were hurting afterwards. I think one of the things I learned most on this project was I should have used a Forstner bit to pre-drill some of these holes rather than literally hand cut all of them with a hammer and a chisel. But it worked out. That's why my hands hurt so bad. This is us testing it out in the kitchen just a little bit, getting my wife's approval on making sure that they fit in there properly and everything. And you can even see some of this wood is old pine that was used out of our kitchen, and I just milled it down and it worked perfect. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Sometimes you just got to use what you have, and that's what I was able to do. Took it back outside, test fit it to get the long rails, and you can see how long this thing is, but they all fit in there. So I went ahead and moved it into the basement, assembled both sides, all 4 of my bottom rails for each level, and it's how it turned out so far. And I put all this together, and then I started working on the drawers. The drawers were a bit of a challenge for me because I wasn't really sure how to do it, but I cut down my old kitchen cabinets by about 3/4 by 5 inches high, put 3 sides together, slid a piece of 1/4-inch plywood in there, and kind of did pocket holes to make the frame. Since I had the front and back rails on, I kind of set the drawer in there, and you can see I easily did a very easy, simple slider that it's going to slide in and out. I didn't have any specific things that I was mounting them to or anything, so I just want to slide in and out. With the front rail, I did something I didn't know if I was supposed to do or not, but I set the drawer in there, and I pretty much measured, as you can see with the arrows here, how it would be. So I took the front rail, it's all the way across, measured down so that the drawer front would match the railing perfectly. Again, I wasn't sure if this was the right way, but it actually turned out to work out good. I then took a jigsaw and just cut straight down on my lines that I marked and did all of that and took that portion off and screwed it to the front of the drawer with some pocket holes. And you can see it pretty much matched perfectly. And this is how I created drawers for this. It's kind of my test to see about using real grain one day. So here's where the real fun begins with finishes. We have this top, it was from my wife's grandfather who passed away over 20 years ago, and it was left in the basement when we bought the house from her grandma. So we're gonna use some knotty pine on the top. Amanda really wanted to finish this herself, so I said absolutely go for it. We used a butcher block finish on it, and here she is putting it on, and it turned out way better than I imagined for it. And it's been about 2-3 years. It's ready for about another sanding and putting it on again, but it just turned out great. It's wet here. We let it dry a little bit, all the way, sanded it down, put another coat on it. And once that was happening, she was super excited and wanted to put it on as a test fit. And we're able to put it all in, make sure she was happy with it and everything. I still haven't cut the rails for the different shelving yet, but I'll get to that. So these are pretty much a little bit of the shots to make sure she was totally happy with the design, the look, and now we are really ready to put it all together. It's all test fitted right now. So I took it all apart, got my clamps and busted out the glue, took it upstairs, clamped it all, and started gluing it all together. It sat for about a day till it was fully together. And then we really was ready to get paint on it. So it took a little bit of time to figure out exactly what type of paint we wanted and from where. We ended up going to our True Value here where we live, and this is what we got in case you like the color. It came out to be Wolf Gray by Benjamin Moore. So if you like the color, we actually went with this, and we actually painted our lower kitchen cabinets to match this, which is on the other side of where this is. So I went ahead and went outside, started cutting the railings for the bottom and middle shelf, and Amanda threw a coat of paint on it. Turned out amazing, and really it only took one coat to cover the entire thing. So once that was done, threw the top on it to see how it would look, and I put the rails in there. They're still unfinished at this point, but Amanda threw a couple coats of finish on those to match the top with the butcher block, even though I won't be cutting anything on it. And we were really happy with the turnout, and really all it is you have to figure out what poles you want. So we ran out to Target, got these. They were good at first, but they were a little too small, couldn't really get your fingers through it, so we ran back out to our local hardware store, Home Depot, and we grabbed different poles. Put them on, moved it into the kitchen to see how it would look, and back here we are to the original quote-unquote beauty shots of it actually in use, set up completely. We had a lot of fun with this project. It honestly took about 2 weeks for me to do, and it turned out great, and it's still functional after 4 years later. So that was it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the making of a kitchen buffet, a little coffee table for our kitchen. Had a blast doing it. It's held up great. As you can see, 4 years going strong. And it's a great piece to our house. It was the first piece of furniture that I've ever built using mortise and tenon. We painted it. I didn't really know how to do drawers. I didn't know how to do the mortise and tenon. There are a lot of shortcuts that I would do now to probably make the piece of furniture a lot better, stronger. I'd even like to try and make it again with some different type of materials, some more raw woods rather than painting it, and maybe I'll try and mill some wood off our chainsaw mill and throw that together just to see how it would turn out. Let me know what you guys think about it. Like, subscribe below, share it with your friends. This is a project that is simple, easy for you all to build at home as well. So hope you have a great week. See you next time.